Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast 164 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We are back, continuing our Season 4 commentary series with episode 409, The Shape of Things to... Wait for it? Come. Shape of Things to Come, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
We finally got into this last part of Season 4, or I should say the beginning of the last part of Season 4.
The beginning of the end, if you will, but not
that
one.
Not that one, not yet. Yeah. So we're just
the end of Season 4, I guess.
Yeah, we're just coming off of the explosive Meet Kevin Johnson, where we met him all right.
Was it explosive? Or was it just fake explosive?
Yeah. Did the gun go not go off, or the bullet bounce off your head? Yeah. Oh, Tom. Yeah. So I remember this being a pretty big, crazy episode.
Yeah. It was super exciting because this was the first one after the writer's strike had been resolved.
Oh, that's right.
So this is the first one with whatever changed after the writer's strike. This is the first one that would, reflect that, because everything had been written and filmed before the writer's strike. Obviously, this episode seems different after you've seen the whole show than it did at the time. I would say at the time it was, mind-blowingly awesome, and it seemed like it was setting up the main conflict of the show to be between Ben and Widmore. So anyone who's seen the second to last episode of season 6 knows how well that panned out.
Yep.
Oh, all right, I'll make a deal. Just don't kill me daughter, and then I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
It's a good Widmore.
And then Ben's like, "You don't get to save your daughter. I'll shoot you now."
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That was it. That was it. After the build-up, I mean, this is like a time-traveling, like multi-generational, like mega conflict that it starts with this Alex stuff, and it goes through kicking Widmore off the island.
Yeah.
And, Widmore sending the freighter there, and then Kimi comes, and, that's what's going to happen in this episode. Alex's death. And then Ben travels through time to go, menace Widmore and, kill all his men. He gets Saeed involved and, murdering all these Widmore cronies or whatever to stop him.
Yeah.
For whatever good that did. And then, in the end, it's just well, all right, Van, never mind.
Yeah. And Widmore never mentions all that, his whole army being destroyed. It's so weird when he's off the island, and he seems to care a lot about the island still, but he also seems to just be plugged into whatever his businesses are doing, and
right.
It is weird to have this whole sort of conflict not be the real one. I guess that makes sense. But,
and they have the rules too.
The rules that don't matter.
Rules that don't matter. Oh my God, that drove me crazy. But I think now, after years, and the leftovers coming in to kind of help a little with this, now I understand the rules not mattering. It was something that bothered the shit out of me at the time. But now it's why did I think they had to be supernatural, some kind of island spell rules or something? There's no reason why they had to be that. I just assumed they would be, and I'll own that. That was my fault.
Because of what you did.
It's because of what I did. Even Ben and Widmore don't ever say that the rules are supernatural. It's just as the Lost Encyclopedia stated, and the thing you said on the podcast before they did, hey, plagiarism, anybody? Anyway, they said, it was a gentleman's agreement, basically. Okay, we had this war, but, the family stay out of it. That was the deal, and that's like totally,
Yeah. If he
reasonable.
didn't say rules and he said agreement, it wouldn't be a
Yeah,
confusion.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. He broke the agreement. Then now it doesn't sound crazy.
Yeah. Because rules, I mean, it seems like it's something handed down. It seems like something outside of the two of them, and
Yeah.
like how many are there is a whole list, and uh, do we know any of the other rules? I mean, was that the only one? No families.
As far as I know, that's the only rules we know between them. Like Ben claims some other rules that don't seem to have anything to do with Widmore. Like he says that once you leave the island, you can never come back. And he says he broke the rules by coming back to the island. So he tries to like make that a thing. But I mean, I don't know where he really got that from. Um, but it definitely like puts in uh, it makes it up for debate whether, and we anyone who's listened to the Last Lowdown knows this is like very much up for debate, whether the rules between Jacob and Man in Black were actually a
Yeah.
thing, or if they were, I mean, maybe not a gentleman's agreement exactly, but a kind of thing where someone says you can't do something, and you know somehow that makes you think you can't do it.
Hmm. That's why you should respond with, "Don't tell me what I can't do."
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, like I mean, it's really like a mini version of the Jacob and Man in Black thing.
Mm.
Instead of keeping him trapped on the island, he exiles him from the island. You
Yeah.
know, but ultimately, it's really just a simpler, less, whatever,
Seems
across
like
time thing.
Jacob and Ben should have worked together, and Jacob could have kept Man in Black on the island, and Ben could have kept Widmore off the island. They
Yeah, yeah.
could have made a good team if Jacob had ever cared about Ben.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice. I don't know, give him the fucking time of day. I mean he did a lot. I don't know.
Hmm.
I always feel like I understand why, like, not that he should have murdered Jacob, but like I understand being frustrated by being told after spending the bulk of his life. I mean, he arrived there when he was like 12 or something, and
Hmm.
he joined the others in very early adulthood, I guess, or even maybe even a little earlier than that. And spending his whole life devoted to that, and then you meet the leader, and he's like, "You,
Hmm.
so what?" Like, what
Yeah.
are you shit? Really? After all that? Like, I totally
Yeah.
get that. That's frustrating, and I, just as a viewer, I want to know: was it just a provocation? Was it just like I actually want Ben to kill me because that's what needs to happen for this final thing to play out? I'm done anyway, whatever.
Hmm.
Or did he actually have a reason? Did he actually really dislike Ben for some particular reason? You know?
Well, I think we talked about this on previous podcasts, so I'm just going to refer you to those. Good
Yeah.
luck. It's buried there somewhere. No. Yeah, it's weird. It really gets back to what Jacob thought about the others, and
Right.
really,
Which isn't clear.
Richard should have been in charge. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the one that was Jacob's emissary. I don't know
Yeah.
why Richard wasn't in charge, and why no one ever said, well, if Jacob sent him, then maybe he should lead us.
Yeah,
If
it
he's
seems
the
like the
one,
obvious thing.
yeah. So I don't really understand why, yeah. So I don't know. So it seems weird that Jacob would. Oh God, I hate going through this whole thing. It doesn't get you anywhere. But the whole gambit of like, okay, is man good or bad? We're gonna bring people to the island and let
Right,
them
right,
figure
right.
it out. So he's just, having this whole cadre of people show up and band together and become the others, and he's gonna send Richard to be kind of his voice. but what is he? But he's also not plugged into what they're doing there.
Right.
So it's weird that he would just let a bunch of people just be on the island and run amok and go into all these crazy Dharma things that the island has. And I mean, they could have destroyed the island with all the crap they were doing on this show, and so it's weird that he would be so hands off. Even after sending Richard, it doesn't seem like that really helped anything. It doesn't seem like he was necessarily getting like regular updates or anything like that. I don't know. It just seemed like a long period of time where Jacob was not really around doing anything, and
Right.
he's got nothing else to do. That's the problem.
Right.
Besides tapestries, um, it's not like he's on Instagram.
Oh man, I follow Jacob on Instagram.
Huh.
I'm just saying.
But not Mark Pellegrino.
Never him.
All right. So yeah, this episode I'm looking forward to. I'm curious. I was just thinking, speaking of like Ben and the others, like, why doesn't this whole like island thing, like turning the donkey wheel, like, can't you just do that a bunch of times so Widmore never finds the island? Like, why does that only work once?
Yeah. I mean, I think what they tried to say is that it was, dangerous and unpredictable or something. They tried to say like it's not something you can just do lightly, but I agree 100%. That should have been a thing.
And do we know
how the fuck could he ever? I mean, if it's really going all over the place, how could he ever find it?
Yeah, do we know how Ben knows about the donkey wheel? I'm sure we've asked this before, talked about this before.
That's a good question. I don't think we know how he knows about the donkey wheel. I can only presume that he got it from Dharma. I mean, Dharma knew about the donkey wheel.
Mm-hmm.
We basically saw them discover it, and so I would assume that once the purge happened, if they went through the Dharma stuff or whatever, like if they didn't just already know from someone who defected or from getting the information directly from someone, I would guess that's where it came from.
So does that mean that the wheel has been turned before? Otherwise, how would anybody know what it does? Hashtag logic.
The question that kills. Well, yeah, that's a killer, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Fuck. Okay, no. Here it is. Sorry. Here it is. No, I don't have it.
It was just there.
Hold on, I almost had it. You know what, though? I have no fucking idea. It's weird. It's weird, man, because it starts with Christian, it starts with the Man in Black's order to move the island, but if I remember right, and we'll be getting to that pretty soon here, if I remember right, the way it goes is Locke comes out for the episode ending dramatic line. He says we have to move the island. Lost, yeah, oh shit, it's gonna get crazy. And then when you come back to it, you realize he has no idea how to do it. He didn't ask, and he has no clue. And so Ben gets to swoop in and say, well, he must have wanted me to do it because you don't know how to do it, and I do.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to say it came from the Man in Black, and it's weird because he did build the fucking donkey wheel.
Yeah.
But so it feels like that connection is almost there. Like he told Ben, you know what I mean? Which I guess is a possibility. I mean, we've talked about the idea, which I think has some serious problems, but we've talked about the idea that, Ben was meeting with the smoke monster somehow, like unknowingly. And that's how he found out about the smoke monster summoning chamber that he's going to use in this episode. And maybe that's where he got some of his information. as far as that goes. And he thought it was Jacob. I mean, that's really problematic to me. But whatever he thought, somehow, like, maybe that's how he got information. Like, maybe that's where he found out about Donkey Wheel.
Something off screen.
Yeah, something off screen. I mean, whatever it is, it's off screen, I think. But, Smoke Monster and Dharma seem like the only reasonable candidates to me.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to see if there's anything online, if anybody asked this question.
It's a good question that, like, didn't even bother me that much. And then you just hit with the, but how would he know what it does? Like, he could know it's there. That doesn't mean he knows what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, and even the what Dharma's doing at the Orchid above the donkey wheel isn't exactly that,
Yeah.
So you can't even really infer from the whole rabbit thing,
right,
what's happening.
It just links into time travel, and that's where things get weird. I mean, I guess, like, this is just, I say that's where things get weird. Like, a lot of things are like this on this show, but the conflation of moving the island, time traveling on the island, being transported off the island, time traveling while being transported off the island.
So here's another question that might ruin this: is is if okay, so Man in Black is the one who told Ben about the frozen donkey wheel. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but later, he tells Locke that he didn't want Ben to be the one to turn it, right?
He does say that, yeah.
So why? So knowing that he told Ben about the frozen donkey wheel before he told Locke, why wouldn't he tell Locke, hey, by the way, don't tell Ben this, or don't let Ben get involved, or hey, Ben knows about this, but you know what I mean? Like, if he knows Ben knows the information, but he also doesn't want Ben to be the one to do it, first of all, why did he tell him? Second of all, why wouldn't he warn Locke? Why wouldn't he warn Locke to make sure Ben doesn't, hog the glory here?
Right. The only thing I can throw out about that is that he was lying when he
Who
said,
was lying?
The Man in Black was lying when he said that he wanted Locke to do it. That he was just telling that to Locke for his own, manipulation, basically. Because Ben getting off the island, Ben using the donkey wheel, like, totally ends up playing into his plan. And if he really planned so far as to want Ben to murder Locke, which I think there's evidence he did want that to happen, not a ton, but some, and also, Ben's eventual, return and murdering of Jacob and all that stuff, it plays really well into that plan. I think it's, since he's manipulating both characters, it seems to me that he's not necessarily telling the truth in that scene.
When he says that Ben wasn't supposed to do it?
Yeah, that he didn't want Ben to do it. He wanted Locke to do it the first time. Because right. here's some, like, more solid evidence that I'll throw at you about that. When Ben does it, that's when the time traveling starts. And, because it's off its axis. And that's when Locke time travels to the future. And Man in Black is there to meet him with Richard and to tell him that he has to die. He knows that's going to happen. So I think that also suggests that he knows that the wheel's going to get turned not by Locke. Otherwise, he would have ended up in Tunisia. He wouldn't have been able to time travel.
But why not just tell Ben to do it and leave Locke out of it? If he knows what's gonna happen, why is he doing all this extra weird stuff?
Honestly, it seems like a contrivance to me. Like, here's the problem. Here's like a big problem that's gonna happen if Ben goes into the cabin. If Ben goes into the cabin and he sees Christian Shepherd there, First,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna know who that is,
Yeah.
which Locke doesn't know who that is at that point. Second, he's gonna know he's dead, and as soon as we hit that point, he knows enough to know that that shouldn't be Jacob. And a lot of I mean, in terms of Ben going along with the plan, he even literally says, and he's by himself when he says it, so I can only assume he believes it. I hope you're happy now, Jacob. Like, he really thinks that was Jacob in there ordering
Mm-hmm.
the island to be moved, the wheel to be turned.
Yeah.
And if he goes in a cabin, there's a good chance that he'll have some clue that it's not him. Claire's in there. It's just like, what the fuck? Not having him go in there, it seems like a contrivance. Just because going in there would be problematic.
Does that answer why he tells Locke and Ben to do it, or why he tells Locke to do it though?
Well, yeah, just because, like, to avoid the problem of Ben going in there getting the orders, so like Locke has to go in there alone, get the orders, but Ben's the one who's supposed to do it.
Well, why
It's
not just
awkward.
tell Locke what the docky will is when he gives the orders, and then Ben doesn't have to do anything? Because I guess they want Ben off the island.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wants Ben to do it, it helps. It helps his position if Locke's like, I have no idea how to do it, and Ben knows, and he can say, "Well,
But why
Jacob
not
must have
just
wanted
tell
me to do
Locke?
it."
Why not just tell Locke, hey, go tell Ben to do this?
Yeah, well, that would be simpler. That would be simpler. But then he gets to claim that he didn't want Ben to do it, and to make Locke feel special and feel like he was the one who was supposed to do the thing. Um, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That would be more reasonable.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get to that point in the episode. But
Yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up very soon.
cool. All right. Anything else before we start?
No, let's go for it.
All right. Well, everybody, get your players ready if you're going to sync up with this for the shape of things to come.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Previously on Lost. Oh, remember when Locke was in charge and no one was
Yeah.
safe?
It was such a mess. He had no idea what to do.
I'll tell you.
It's not a secret anymore.
Why did the temple have a Dharma logo?
Yeah. That's a prop error. I'm pretty sure Greg Nations acknowledged that one.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like every mysterious thing on the island is a Dharma thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't really think it through.
Dharma built a temple. Oh, I'm Ben's daughter.
Yeah. That was what we had to sit with for like a couple months.
Dang. Little beach bathing? What's Kate doing?
Yeah, I guess.
Are they waving at each other?
I know. This is what we come back to.
Yeah, a little awkward.
Kate takes a bath. Wow.
Jack's a little hurt. Kate takes a bath.
I guess that's the A plot.
You can't do that. She has never eaten crackers this entire show.
find some crackers
Yeah.
in this season. I wonder. It seems like that's foreshadowing, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would you foreshadow crackers? But still.
No, Jack. Well, you're kind of right.
Oops. Yeah, he's right. Ish. Uh-oh.
Oh no!
It's a Bernard emergency.
This is such a season 1 scene.
Oh, it's this thing.
Dang.
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't get complicated.
This is not a season 1 thing now.
No.
Yeah, this is a fucking mess.
Charlotte.
Yep.
Dan.
Yep.
Doctor.
Oh shit.
Oh, he's got a stitch too.
Not Ray. Huh?
Huh? He was?
Who?
He was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, throat cut. Surprised he didn't call him Chicken Big. Oh God, I hate this reveal. Whatever
I
it is.
I know. I remember what this is.
Backgammon or
You're
cards,
close. You're close.
checkers. Oh, uh-oh. What is this? The leftovers?
I remember people losing their minds over that line.
Yeah.
Australia was not the key to the whole game in this show, but yeah, maybe it was the most awesome preview for the leftovers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Uh-oh.
Who has them? Her. I can't tell. They showed a shot.
Yeah, no, I think we're not supposed to know yet. They're definitely not showing them
Yeah, there was one
clearly.
shot where you could tell, but it was quick.
Yeah. Does she do some kind of secret code?
I think she puts the code where. Yeah.
Emergency, hostile invasion or something like that.
Dominoes.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
There's bigger question: have they tried to use the phone yet?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's just code 14J.
14J. Why is it forbidden? Just because he's the only one who would know? Oh, okay. I mean, it wasn't his house originally.
Why is he playing piano?
They all moved in. I know. Who knew he even played piano?
When did he have time to practice?
No shit.
And this is why Benjamin Linus is the best goddamn character. The whole time he's could have murdered all of them. It's great.
He was just right there.
He was in the piano bench the whole time.
It seems so innocent. Oh, I'm just tickling the ivories here. I'm not gonna do no
You know what probably happened? He was probably loading that shotgun before they walked in the room.
Yeah.
And then he heard him coming and he quickly jumped on the piano like he was playing.
Yeah.
You totally see that.
That makes sense.
Oh my God. We just cut to this?
Yeah.
Like this?
They just cut to this. This is crazy. This is totally crazy. And a little caption.
Yeah.
Just in case you're wondering. It's the Sahara Desert. This is not the island.
Yeah, he's got a parka on, right?
Yeah,
so that's
which is a great detail.
The incongruity of wait, but he was on the island, he didn't have the jacket, and now, even if why would he have a jacket on the island?
Cut on his arm, all that stuff. They're really,
It's like he just appeared here, but how would that be possible?
Yeah.
And then he's got, Halliwax, and you're like, his name isn't Halliwax.
Halliwax, right. Pierre Chang, such a weirdo.
What do they look at? It's like, it's hot. I don't mind taking it off. What is this, TSA? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this is Secret Agent Ben.
Yeah.
He's like, to be fair, just that one word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not really. It's not really the same.
The horses don't care.
No. I've moved on.
Yeah, I wasn't that attached to him. Yeah.
Luckily, they only had one horse, so you would have to abandon a horse.
They rode in on two horses.
Oh, where'd the other horse go?
It ran off, and they didn't show it or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, he abandoned a horse.
I'm pretty sure they weren't riding. They weren't both on a one.
There's a wild horse. No, you're right. There should have been two horses.
Oh god. Frenchie and the
Frenchie and the Kids.
Great band name. Listen, I gotta grab somebody right now.
Somebody's getting grabbed.
Who's getting grabbed?
Oh god.
But see, if Ben is saying John needs to survive because of some like future predestination thing or whatever, because of the time travel that's going to happen later, does it? Well, shouldn't he survive no matter what?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you don't know what is survivable or not, but still, I feel like I don't know. It's weird. Uh-oh, here we go.
Not really. Clearly.
Jeremy Davies, everybody.
Yes, no.
It's like Sawyer's not around, Saeed's not around. Like he's got no one to confer with.
Yep, it's Bernard now.
No, it's Bernard. That's how low he got.
God damn it, I'm number 2? Shit.
Yeah, you're the Riker. Oh, number 1. Number 1 is number 2.
Sorry, I guess number 0 is number 1. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
Here we go. This is the funniest murders ever.
Stay in the house!
Dude,
Stay in the house! Stop running outside! Oh my god!
3 down. Oh man. Stop trying to help people get shot. You're gonna get shot. Oh, sir, you're gonna be out of guns soon. I mean, out of bullets.
Yeah, it's like it's great how many times
they're gonna do much, buddy,
and they get nothing. Oh shit!
Oh man! Oh, Claire's dead.
Yeah, well, they came back with an action budget. Clearly.
Yeah, right.
This is like
all the money that they saved up for not shooting.
Like, damn.
Don't mind me, just time traveling.
This is normal.
Oh god, I remember this.
Yeah. I forgot. Like, oh, I've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
But surely he's not. He didn't come there by turning the wheel before, did he?
Yeah, probably. Did he turn it when Widmore left the first time? Maybe.
That's interesting. I assumed that was the first time, but because he had
Yeah.
to like break through, you know, he had to like rig the
Yeah.
the orchid
Yeah.
station thing to like blow up a hole in the wall, and you know what I mean. It was a
Wait,
whole
did they
thing.
just say that he hadn't been there since 2005?
Yeah, they did, which would be like right after the plane. I mean, well, no, wait. Oh, it's they're saying it's 2005 now. Sorry, that's telling us it's in the future.
Oh, I see.
Because 2004 is the present for the show right now.
Okay.
That's a
That's
weird
right,
thing
because
about this
Michael had only
show.
been gone a couple months.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's the fourth season, but only a few months have passed.
By the window.
Ooh.
Because he saw it once.
Yeah,
Twice.
that never made sense to me. And it was moving. They established that it was moving.
Yeah, but I don't
Just
think he knows it was moving. Does he? Did Hurley tell him
Hurley
that?
saw it move.
But I don't know if he told Ben he saw it move. Did
Oh,
he?
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, he didn't
I
necessarily
remember
say that.
this.
Yeah, yeah, I remember thinking, oh, she was dead already.
Hmm. That's right. Oh, there's a whole thing about that.
Yeah, yeah. It got crazy. He's like carrying a ghost around.
Orlando.
But I guess the idea is more that she was just wounded and susceptible.
I guess that was better.
Yeah, it seems pretty questionable.
It definitely was quicker than moving everything, but now they have
Yeah,
a window.
yeah.
That'll help, Log.
Curtains. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion.
On three. I love it. 1, 2, 3 goes flying out the
1, 2,
window.
and throw you to the wolves.
And now they have to move it anyway.
Yeah, they gotta move it.
God damn it.
Moving it twice would have been too much.
Fucking Miles.
Mm-hmm. Forgot he was on here.
Oh, okay, right. He's Messenger. Oh, God.
Nadia.
Yep. I forgot that this is included.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first thing. Oh, this is okay. So the Tunisia thing was like very brief.
So he stayed there at night and then he went to Iraq.
I guess so. That's what it looks like.
Oh, because he saw Saeed on TV.
Right. Saeed was on TV. I forgot. Yeah.
That guy.
I work for Widmore. Or do I?
It's a mighty lens.
But I guess the question would be if he didn't. Well, okay. I guess no. The real question was he really involved in Nadia's death or not?
Yeah.
I guess like it makes no sense if Ben's going after him if he doesn't actually work for Widmore.
Well, and it's he's just taking pictures, right? And it's like he's gonna use that as evidence, right? He's gonna like, hey, here's a person.
Yeah.
Therefore, they did it because I have a picture of a person.
It's a guy on the street. So
I love Saeed's instincts. He's like, someone's watching.
Yep.
It's Ben.
Yep. He got him immediately.
Oh, this is great.
He's gonna abandon that procession.
Yeah. He's like, somebody hold this fucking casket.
Yep. I guess he didn't know who it was.
Oh yeah, it's weird. Huh?
What?
They got married?
It was a hit and run. Yeah, they got married. I think we're gonna see their wedding.
Some political talk there. That's a lie.
Yep, total lie. Here's a picture.
Yep, that's a picture. Somebody drives.
Look, do you see? It says Hollywood at the top.
That's how you know it's real. From La Brea and Santa Monica. It's so weird.
Yes, and no one else has driven through that intersection except the one who hit Nadia with the car. It's like so flimsy.
Well, it is a coincidence though, but the guy, like, if that guy was there when she died in that area and he's here at the funeral, that is suspicious.
Oh yeah, sure.
But Ben hasn't quite. Well, I guess we know that because we saw him. But I feel like we don't have real proof that he was there, right?
And they refuse to confirm it. I mean, when we actually see her get hit with the car, they don't show him.
Yeah.
So there's just no way to know. And I don't even know what we're supposed to think. You know what I mean? Like, are we supposed to believe it or are we supposed to think it's bullshit? I really don't know.
Yeah.
Because, like, could it be that... Oh, God.
I should have said that first.
Yeah. You got to lead with that. You buried the lead.
The music is great. No time for that right now.
You'll find out.
God, is there like a sniper rifle on the... He's like, bang!
I know.
Why didn't they just do that?
He doesn't want to kill Ben. I think he's supposed to take him alive.
Right. That's
I was just going to throw out the idea that he was tailing them. You know, just like we saw someone outside Hurley's institution, like watching him, seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were just tailing him, and then she got killed in a hit and run by some random person. Like that would be a possible explanation.
Mm-hmm.
When did you do this research?
Whenever he put Michael in the boat.
Oh, right. Michael gave him the names. Son of a bitch.
Just in time.
Right, because he was able to do it before, like, any of this drama started.
Yeah.
Because that freighter's, like, been like out there for a while before it shows up on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being so sure that there's no way this is going to happen.
Yeah, I know. There's just no way they're gonna kill her.
I was so confident because scenes like this don't usually end with the hostage dying.
Yeah, not somebody's
That's
girl, daughter,
yeah.
kid.
Like that's just
Some young
not a
kid.
thing that happens.
And that's what Ben is counting on too. Like he's like, there's no
Yeah,
way A, Jacob's gonna let this happen, or B, like
yeah.
I can't figure this out.
And I guess like after Carl and Danielle being killed, it's like is she really just gonna get killed too after all that? And it's like in a way that makes sense because that whole
Yeah.
plot line's gone.
Wow.
Yeah, he clearly didn't expect that. He stopped counting too, which made me
Mm-hmm.
wonder like where are we in the count?
Yeah, Ben is like, what?
Yeah, yeah, that's not what was supposed to happen. He really thought that ploy would convince him that she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter to him, and so like it's not worth killing
Yeah.
her.
But the problem with that line of logic is, why wouldn't he just kill her anyway? Then,
Yeah, yeah. Because who
great, you don't.
cares?
Yeah, you don't need her. I don't either.
Yeah, exactly. If you're really a mercenary, like it's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
So he just said they changed the rules, so we had that line.
Yep.
He's like, I'm calling the smoke monster.
Yeah. This is where shit gets crazy.
Yeah, this was insane. He's got this room.
I knew this day would come.
I need the perfect suit. Oh wait. Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah. I remember talking about this for a while. Why is this thing here?
Why is it here? Ooh, reflection.
Ooh. Sneaky.
So Ben's following this guy. This is Widmore's guy. What does he care? What's happening? Why is he after this guy? Is he? I guess we don't know, right? Like, but
I don't think we know.
he's
I mean,
trying to
just because
get
he works for
Widmore.
Widmore, presumably.
Oh, like maybe he's trying to kill Widmore because he just killed Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Wouldn't Widmore's guys know Ben? I guess not, but
Like by sight.
so many. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that he seemed to know the name but not the face.
Yeah, see, like I guess we got confirmation he worked for Widmore. He
It
didn't
seemed
say
like it.
who's Charles Widmore.
Right. Yeah. It's like there's enough deniability that he would just because he just said what's the message.
Yeah, and why would Widmore kill Nadia? Or they were trying to kill Saeed? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, good question. I guess, yeah, I would assume they were trying to kill Saeed. That would be the story, at least. It's not clear that happened, though. But when I die, I will forget about her completely. Mm-hmm. And I'll go with, what's her name? The blonde.
The one no one liked. So it was Saeed's idea.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Though I think we're supposed to believe that he wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's that like con man thing of making him think it's his idea.
Yeah, but you know, he couldn't have. I don't know. He would have to really. Excuse me. He's all dirty.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, you're right. I just flushed the smoke monster toilet.
It's fucking crazy.
There's this freight train coming through.
Yeah, watch out. The Smoky Express is coming.
Hi!
So, how did it get over the fence again?
It's turned off.
It's turned off.
Alex turned it off to let Kimi in.
All right.
Yeah. God damn this furniture.
They did it again.
Oh, I remember this.
Crazy.
It kind of just like roughs them up a little bit.
Yeah. Which is weird. It doesn't just kill them like it does anybody else.
Yeah. They're all just like, ow. Ow.
Man, it's crazy. You think when geez.
Yeah.
Bullets don't work.
It definitely like raises major questions about Ben's knowledge of the smoke monster.
Oh, this is huge. This goes back to season 1. I mean, this is just insane. Or maybe we're supposed to think it killed some of Kimi's team. I don't know. Maybe they'll say it later.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it did. Maybe it just didn't kill,
like he and Omar are the only ones who got out.
I'm just surprised it didn't kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, that thing didn't take long to throw people against a tree and be dead.
Yeah.
Wow, Ben.
Yeah.
And she died thinking he disowned her basically at the last minute for his own,
that he never
saving his own self.
It was just, yeah. I mean, this is pretty much like the major final piece of Ben's arc, because his murdering of Jacob. I mean, everything he does after this, like it ties into this.
Yep.
In terms of the big plot lines, including the Widmore stuff.
He made a telegraph.
Nice.
feel like he's not tapping enough for all those letters. Does anybody know Morse code?
Morse code. It's very.
I feel like no one knows how to read it. Everyone's just like, I don't know. We didn't think about this part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. Oh God. There we go. Bernard knows.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you know...
It's not just a dentist.
It probably means the doctor's fine.
Here's Jack being Jack.
Yep. You know...
Define off.
Define take. Define us.
Define island.
Oops.
Here's the cry. I was just gonna say, like, he can only be more Jack if he starts crying. Is this when Jack needs surgery?
Yes.
Or did we already do that story?
No, this is setting up the surgery plot. It's his appendix.
Yeah.
That's where this is going. Chopper buddies. Vincent? Oh, right.
The other Vincent. Yeah, I thought he was actually going to say, I still don't know what it is.
Well, I feel like that's the truth, you know. But that's interesting. That it seems like that insinuates he got the information from the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Wackos.
We're not in this upcoming storyline.
I'm going with the non-wackos.
Is his head curly?
Yeah, I feel like his head's not curly. One hair in his curly hair doesn't really sounds weird.
One curly hair on his head.
One curly hair on his head. There you go. That sounds better.
Curly and Hurley. Yeah.
Yep.
Hurley curls.
All right, lead the way. Why are you asking Ben? Didn't you just take Hurley because he's supposed to know?
Yeah,
The
isn't the
fuck?
point? I feel like we talked about that where it's like we just said we need Hurley yet. Somehow we don't need him yet.
What? I know. Like, how does he know which way? I
Mm-hmm.
don't get it. Uh-oh. Not
Uh-oh,
London,
indeed.
England.
Oh, I know what's going to happen here, you little rat.
I
He knows when
gotta.
he's about to get hit with a baton.
Yep, yep.
It's not his. He's a bellhop. He knows.
I
The
don't need
door.
any part of that. Mr. and Mrs. Kendrick can deal with that.
Exactly. I don't rather like him anyway.
Oh God, he's got a key. Or is he picking it?
No, he's
Okay, he's picking
he's just
it. There we
picking
go.
it.
That makes more sense.
Security in this building is not that great.
Not really. Of course, he's in the penthouse suite. Nothing but the
Mm-hmm.
best for Whitmore. London real estate, let me
Wow,
tell you.
he's got the elevator goes literally to the penthouse.
Straight up. I bet, yeah. I bet he pays like £2,000 a month for that.
Yeah. It seems like probably a little less. The worst way to wake up.
I know. What?
Move. That light did nothing.
No, it's useless. Uh-oh.
And when was
When
that?
did the nightmares start? When I started drinking scotch before bed.
Why not?
I assume that's one of the rules, I guess.
Why would that be a rule?
It's a weird rule to have, definitely. Oh, I didn't give the order.
Love that line. Yikes.
Uh-oh.
Rat.
It's always a rat. Uh-oh.
What are he?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I guess what he is a taker?
Yeah, pretty much. It seems like it meant something crazy, but...
Thief, yeah.
Exactly.
Penelope? I didn't change the rules. Did I? I'll speak about it now. Damn it. Always.
Yeah, always is a stretch.
But you'll never find that. Now we're both hunting. May the best hunter win. Also, I'm going to use your toilet on the way out. Lots. That would have been a great line to end. I'm going to use your toilet. Lost. All right. Wow, the shape of things to come. And that is not a tour bus in London.
No, it's
Okay,
not.
interesting. Is this the shape of things to come? Wow. I
That's the
feel
shape of
like
things to come.
so much of that Widmore Ben scene is deflated when you know what's going to happen.
Totally.
Oh man, when you know everything about their backstory and what's going to happen, it doesn't seem like that big a deal.
Yeah,
You
whereas it
do
was an epic confrontation at the
you do
time.
expect, yeah, you do, yeah, the war that Jack was training an army for in season 2.
Yeah.
You expect that to come to a head and like, oh, they're gonna kill each other's daughters, and
Mm-hmm.
he wants the island, and he's got to find Penny, and yeah, but it's interesting. He just totally puts the blame on uh Alex's death on Ben, which I guess he's going to take to heart when he realizes he's got to talk to Smokey to get his sins absolved or whatever he thinks he's got to
Yeah.
confess.
Yeah. He does. He does seem to agree to that at a certain point. I mean, yeah, he tries to kill Penny. It doesn't really work out, as we all know. Um, and yeah, when he goes back, I mean, that whole last part of the show is about either revenge. So he ends up like instead of blaming Widmore, he blames Jacob for it, and
Mm-hmm.
then finally he sort of blames himself for it, going forward. But yeah, you're right. It's sort of Widmore is sort of I mean, it clearly was selfish on some level. Like he could have given himself up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only problem with that, at least for me in that scenario, is like you have to trust the honor of these mercenaries.
Yeah.
Like how do you know he wouldn't just kill her anyway?
Well, and I think if their orders are true, that if it's true that their orders are kill everybody after he gets Ben, then they're still going to do that
Right.
regardless.
Right. In which case, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I mean, Ben could have saved everybody's lives by sacrificing his daughter,
Right. Right.
in that moment at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good episode. We've got the doctor thing happening, so we've got this whole mystery
I
about
forgot that B story. Yeah.
yeah, how that's all lining up, and Dan being cryptic, which is unusual.
Right. Right.
We usually can kind of trust him, but he's being weird, and he's like, in that big, no, we never had planned to take you guys off. That's the end of that whole big question that they set up from the beginning of the
Right.
Freight People.
Yeah. Yeah. From Not
Um,
Penny's boat all the way through.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah. In general, it was a pretty action packed episode. I mean, we had nonstop action with the on island A story that was Kimi attacking, the standoff with Alex, and then the fucking smoke monster shows up,
Yep.
and now they're gonna go to the cabin. It's like what?
Hmm.
Like that's the kind of stuff where I could imagine that plotline playing out over maybe 2 episodes, if the season had been longer, for example. Because
Yeah.
they really get the story gets moving very quickly. The whole being at the barracks and Locke's in charge and all that, it just completely ends at this point. All the red shirts are dead,
Hmm.
and it's either Ben and Hurley with Locke, or the rest of the characters are going back to the main camp. So it's just like that whole let's go off on our own and hole up in the barracks and we'll be safe there.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah,
work
that
out at
whole thing where
all.
the two groups split. Yeah, yeah. That's the end of that.
It didn't work out because they didn't know when they took Ben that that's the only reason they were there. And so, taking Ben actually put them at greater risk than anything else they did.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's interesting. So they think they're gonna go talk to Jacob at the cabin. So that
Yeah.
gets back to what the whole cabin storyline was about. But it's interesting. So not to really, open that can of worms, but
Yeah, it's a can of worms, all right.
and those worms have cans of
They
worms,
do. They do.
little tiny cans of worms. Uh, why are worms eating cans of worms? No one knows. So yeah, okay, but I'm confused because Ben doesn't think he can talk to Jacob, right? So is it
Mm-hmm.
he needs Hurley to find the cabin, and
Oh boy.
he needs Locke to talk to Jacob?
Oh boy.
Is that the idea
Oh
here?
boy.
Is that the
Yeah.
idea?
So I mean that's the thing. That's the thing that it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. So okay. Let me just try to go through it here. He says, okay. Shit. When they originally go, the idea, like the way it's presented, is
Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
Ben is talking to Jacob. Locke
That Ben
can't
is
see
the only
him.
one who, yeah, Ben's the only one who can see and talk to Jacob.
Yeah,
That's how it's presented.
but then the stuff starts flying around.
Uh-huh.
Locke hears "Help me," and Ben doesn't hear that.
Yep.
But when he goes outside, he's like, "That's Jacob," and he also, before he shoots Locke that time, he says, "What did Jacob say?"
Yep.
He
Yep.
wants to know what Jacob said.
Jacob.
Um, and here it's so okay. But then later, so skipping past this point, I guess. We already talked about the donkey wheel, right? I hope you're happy now, Jacob. He clearly thinks the orders came from Jacob. In season 5, when he's talking to the man in black about the cabin, he says, "I was pretending." Um, but I was just as surprised as you were when stuff started flying around or whatever. The conversation is not detailed, but my best guess about what we're supposed to think is that he was bullshitting, but then he started to believe that Jacob really was in there.
Um, but how does he think? Okay, so I was just thinking,
And
okay,
speaking to
but
Locke,
does he think he's seen Jacob before? Like, how does he know that that's where you go to find Jacob? We've talked about that a million times.
yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough
So does
one.
that mean he didn't think that Jacob was at the cabin? So maybe this goes to
And
what
of course, Jacob that's
Alana
the thing.
said.
Like, the connection with
Yeah,
Jacob in the cabin is such a
maybe
mess.
that connects to what Alana said, that Jacob hadn't been in the cabin a long time. So maybe Jacob was there. That was where you could find Jacob a long time ago.
Yeah,
It stopped being true.
yeah,
And then but Ben knows Locke doesn't know Jacob's not there anymore. So Ben takes Locke to the cabin,
yeah,
not expecting anything to happen because he knows Jacob isn't there anymore, because that's what the others know.
yeah.
And then when things start happening, he is surprised because he's like, "Oh, Jacob is back, but now he's not talking to me, or
Right,
you know, ever maybe, because yeah, he never talked to Ben, and
right. So he was pretending at first, but then it turned out there really was someone in the chair,
yeah, yeah,
and so he assumes it's actually Jacob, but he won't. He
hmm
won't. He won't show himself to Ben.
exactly, yeah, yeah, exactly, huh? Okay, that makes sense to me.
I think it more or less makes sense. I mean, the part of it that confuses me is the knowledge about the cabin, like where that came from. Since Richard's the only one who's supposed to be meeting with Jacob, I wouldn't think he would announce the meeting place. Um, Maybe he did. I mean, I guess that's what we would have to
Well,
believe.
I like the idea of the cabin as a place for Jacob to have meetings without people coming to where he is,
Yeah.
because then it keeps his real location safe.
Right.
But I don't actually see him having a lot of meetings enough to really have that be a big deal,
Right.
right? Um, uh, and you gotta wonder, after Horace builds the cabin, Like, at what point would Jacob start using it? I mean, like,
Right.
after Horace is
Well,
dead
it's
or
a short
something. Like,
window, right? It's a short window
after,
between the purge and he hasn't been here in a long time.
yeah, yeah. So you'd think a long time. Then he hadn't been there since before the purge. But then when or really before the cabin was built, right? It seems like
Right.
he hasn't been here since it was built. Before it was built. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's weird. A long time, maybe that's just relative, and it's incorrect. Like the Jack, the clothing is 50 years old or whatever. Judging by the
Right,
decay,
right. I mean,
it's just
it's a vague
wrong.
term. Like, I assume that the reason why she says a long time is because at that point in the story, it's 3 years later from the original visits to the cabin, and
Oh, that's
I
fair.
think they just want to clarify it wasn't him then either.
Yeah.
Just so you know, because then someone else has been using it. So I feel like that's the takeaway of that scene, like that the Man in Black co-opted the
Oh
cabin.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. That Man in Black has been using it
Yeah.
since from when we started seeing the cabin. It's been
It's the first time we saw it, it was already broken.
Yeah.
That's
That's their thing. They love it. First show it broken.
the break in the ash circle.
Hmm.
All that ties in. So I guess there was an era. I'm gonna call it the mid '90s when Jacob was holding meetings in the cabin and things were fine. I don't know, semi-annual. I mean, how often did he meet with Richard? Who knows?
Yeah.
But they would just meet there. I mean, the thing that the thing that kills me about that is so okay, yeah. So I guess what must have happened. It's just so confusing, though. Anyway, the thing that must have happened is that at a certain point he said, "Okay, we're not gonna meet in the cabin anymore, and if you need me, I'll be at the statue." Because that
Hmm.
he does take the Man in Black there when he asks to see Jacob in
Yeah.
season 5.
Yeah.
So but it's just weird because like that was the original place, and then there was this interlude brief period where he's like, you know what, we should meet at the cabin. It's just
Hmm.
like it screams like retcon. Because
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem like something you would plan if you wrote it from the start. You know what I mean? Or if you sort of rewrote the story to be coherent.
Hmm.
Like, it just seems like he should have always been at the statue. He should have never been at the cabin. You know?
Well, but the problem with that is you need a place for Ben to take Locke
Right.
for and to pretend to be in
Which is not the
control,
statue where
which
Jacob's
is
actually going to be.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there has to be two places because he can't take him to
Yeah.
the place he really is.
Right.
Or
Right.
if he took him to the place he really was, Jacob can't actually be there.
Right.
Yet you can't have Man in Black be there if that's where Jacob always
Right.
is normally. So
Right.
yeah, that's why it gets confusing because you got to have a second place, but it's got to be wrong.
Right.
It's not really how it seems. Um,
But then there has to be some validity to it.
it's got to be enough validity for people to think that's where you find him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, Alana can't say that and be right to the degree that
Exactly.
there's the note to go to the
Yeah, I
statue.
mean, I guess like that's why it always felt like, I mean, the ash circle is kind of the nail in the coffin for this, if you will.
Uh huh.
But that Jacob was never there, and the Man in Black just convinced people that he was there.
Hmm.
Like, it feels like that should have been the story, but then I guess like it gets tricky how you reveal that. You can't reveal that with Alana.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I agree. It should be that they just thought that was a place to find him, but no one ever actually saw him there. You know, um,
Right.
because Ben's not supposed to be able to talk to him,
But
and no
having
one else
someone
really.
who did talk to Jacob directly go straight there
Hmm.
suggests that there is some legitimate connection there. along with the ash circle.
Yeah, why didn't they just have her go straight to the? I know I've asked this before. Why didn't they just have her go straight to the statue? I guess. I mean,
seems like she had out of date, info.
I would. You know what they could have done? They could have done the exact same thing, but instead of her saying Jacob hasn't been here in a long time, they could have just said like Jacob never was here. I know where Jacob has lived from the beginning.
But then the question is, why do they go there in the first place?
Well, it could be that who takes her there? Does she go there?
She leads them there.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah, it should have been like somebody else is like, "Oh, I know where Jacob is," and they go there, and she's like, "No, this isn't it. Burn it down."
Yeah. It seems like she's expecting him to be there, and there's a little note pinned there to tell him to go to the statue. So it's sort of like if that weren't there, it's not clear that she would even know to go to the statue.
So and then Jacob just decided one day, okay, Alana's gonna be here soon.
Yeah.
So let me tell her where to find me, but I'm not gonna tell her when I'm in person, face to face with her.
Right.
I'm gonna leave a note for some reason.
It's a mess. It's a mess. But yeah, it looks like that's what happened. Is that good?
So he says, "Hey, Alana, I'm going to heal you. When you get to the island, Come to the cabin."
Me at the cabin. Yeah. I'll meet you at the cabin.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only way it works is, at least to me, is if the meeting with Alana was like a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, it was 10 years ago or something when we see that. And it's just like, his planning was, way in advance. So, like, when he told her that, he still was using the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And she just didn't talk to him for a long time and didn't get the memo that there's an update in terms of where he is. So he had to leave a note for her, I guess.
But when would he have expected her to show up? He's just gonna wait for 10 years?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so so he was directly involved in getting people on the 316 Ajira plane.
Mm-hmm.
He puts Hurley on there directly, and Ilana's there to take Sayid. So I would assume that they met at that point too, which really causes problems for like why she's going to the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like way after he shouldn't have been using the cabin anymore. Unless they didn't meet, and he just said, okay, 10 years from now, there's going to be a bunch of people, and you got it. There's this guy, and you got to get him on the it's just, I mean, it starts to seem ridiculous.
How about maybe he didn't say meet me anywhere. Maybe they didn't discuss meeting. And so that's why she doesn't know exactly where to go, but yet he was like, well, I'll leave this message. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. How does she know to go there? It seems like she was expecting him to be there.
Well, she knows to go there because it's Jacob's cabin, and everybody knows.
She just knows about Jacob's cabin. It's others' business.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like the ultimate other, because she's Jacob's daughter, sort of.
Yep. Sort of.
Yeah, okay. It's just others' misinformation. She didn't get the update. It's just weird though, because like Richard knew not to go there, so he got the memo.
So did he know because Ben said something later off screen, deleted scene?
I don't think so. I mean, Ben's there the whole time, and it seems, and Richard is the one. He's the one that has the info and.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with the cabin is you can't pin all sides down, because what you want is to say Jacob was never there or he was there. So because you can't have it be Jacob, like Richard shouldn't think that Jacob is at the cabin, because later he doesn't go to the cabin to find Jacob.
Right.
Yet if the others think that's Jacob's cabin, why would they think that other than Richard saying it or Ben saying it? Why would Ben say it?
Right. Right. And if
You
Ben
know?
said it, wouldn't Richard correct him? You know, or wouldn't
Yeah.
Richard at least privately say, like, why are you saying that's Jacob's cabin?
Mm-hmm.
We both
Or
know.
or if he knows, like, hey, that Jacob wouldn't be there. Well, and I guess Ben would just be lying if he went to the cabin and said he heard or saw anything, right?
Right.
Because the first time he saw something was when Locke was there.
Exactly.
So he would have just like he comes back to the barracks and he's like, "Hey guys, were they? Yeah, they were living in the barracks. Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, I just went to talk to Jacob at the cabin. He says everything's cool. I'm still the leader, you know." And Richard's just gonna know he's lying.
Yeah, that's where it gets weird because I have heard that theory, and like there are certain parts of the story, like some of the stuff we were talking about in terms of the donkey wheel, Smokey's summoning chamber, this idea
Mm-hmm.
that he was having secret meetings with Smokey, thinking that it was Jacob,
Yeah.
and that's where he got his information and so on. But like there's like multiple problems with that. First of all, Richard should have been correcting it. Richard should have been calling bullshit on it because he shouldn't be taking orders from a fake Jacob. If Richard
Mm-hmm.
knows it's a fake Jacob, he should be worried as shit about that. You
Yeah.
know? And second, Ben says, I've never seen Jacob. So he can't think that he was talking to Jacob and then say, I've never seen Jacob.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So it just doesn't. There's
Could
no
he
way.
could he have been getting notes from Jacob? Email, perhaps? Let's look at Hillary Clinton's server. Does she have any emails from Jacob on there?
30,000 missing emails from
30.
Jacob.
They're all from Jacob. That's why, that's where all his direction to the others were going. They're in her inbox. They're in her
Where
spam
are those
folder.
emails?
Oh man.
Come on,
Yep.
WikiLeaks.
Her email server was a metaphor.
Of course.
Like the box. Yeah, WikiLeaks. Yeah, come on, WikiLeaks. Give us those Jacob emails.
Oh God.
Yikes.
You know, like I've wanted to believe that because it does help, but it's like you said, it's like this whack-a-mole game where like as soon as you go in one direction and it fixes that problem, another problem pops up somewhere else, and there's like no way to. I feel like there's no. That's why we keep going back to this plot because
Yeah.
there just doesn't seem to be a way to resolve it that works for all the parts. You know, it's just like some explanations work for some parts and some explanations work for other parts, and none of them are the same.
I just realized, and then maybe we said it before, that Jacob is a deadbeat dad to these
Big
people.
time. Yeah.
So I think that ties into the daddy issues because
Absolutely.
that's basically what Ben's problem is like
Yes.
his real dad was abusive and not really
Yep.
there. Sort of, he was there
Neglectful. Yeah.
physically,
Totally.
but not mentally, and like Jacob was there like spiritually or something, but not
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just got daddy issues.
It's totally a daddy thing.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of, so when did he say he never saw Jacob?
In season 5, when he's talking to the Man in Black, when they're talking about the cabin.
And he said he never saw Jacob
In
the cabin.
Are you interested? Do you want the
yes.
the real quote?
Give me the real quote.
Let me see if I can find it here.
None of his fake quotes.
Yeah, we don't want to put out fake quotes. That would be embarrassing for all of us. Let's see. I don't remember exactly what episode that is in, unfortunately, but
that's the fakest typing noise I've ever heard. Type.
Yeah, let's see here. Gotta look up these transcripts. Oh, it was probably. Well, what could it have been? It was probably
You know, Jacob does communicate through notes, right? Supposedly.
Yeah, the lists.
Have we gotten verification of the lists that they actually came from Jacob?
Nope.
I should have guessed. Okay, because yeah, I'm assuming Ben could have been writing those lists and been like, hey, this is what Jacob said.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing. Maybe we have to add that to the cabin theory, right? Is that he's got a motive to pretend to be getting information from Jacob. So he's like, hey guys, I just got this note from Jacob, this list. And they're like, yeah, where'd you meet? Where'd you talk to Jacob? He's like, oh, at the cabin. Horace's cabin? Yeah. Yeah, me and Jacob at Horace's cabin have combos all the time. So maybe that's the thing? And he's obviously lying.
Right.
Does that help? Does that solve anything?
Yeah. It's better. It's better if he's lying, because then hit. Okay, so oh, I almost had it. Sorry. Now I fucked it up. Hold on. Here it is. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, here are the lines. What happened that day at the cabin when you first took me to meet Jacob? Ben, well, you clearly already know that I was talking to an empty chair. John, that I was pretending, which is not to say that I wasn't as surprised as you were when things started flying around the room. And then Locke, Man in Black, says, but why go to all the trouble to make something like that up? Ben says, I was embarrassed. I didn't want you to know that I had never seen Jacob. So yes, I lied. That's what I do. That's a lie.
Okay.
Of course, there's the usual problem of believing a liar, but he definitely says it directly.
So, okay. So then that works then, right? So then what's the whack-a-mole here? So
okay,
he's never seen him.
I think that gets rid of the problem that he thinks he's never seen Jacob if he actually thought he was seeing Jacob. Okay, right. So in this scenario, he's just making up the orders himself.
Yeah.
Right? He's not getting them from the smoke monster, because if he's getting them from anyone, then he shouldn't think he wasn't seeing Jacob. I mean, he should at least think they're coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
If he's not making it up. So under this scenario, the real problem would be like, why isn't Richard objecting to this?
Does Ben ever say? Does Ben ever acknowledge that he was getting direction from Man in Black? Like, oh, I thought it was Jacob, but it wasn't. It couldn't have been Jacob, because he says he never saw Jacob.
I don't think that happens.
Oh. Which episode is this?
Although, okay. This one's the incident. Okay. Two things. I got two things on that. Let me try to not forget the two things. Right. So the first thing is, here's the first thing.
Thing one.
What's the second thing? There, I got the second thing. Okay, I got to remember the second thing too. Okay. The first thing, so this is from the end of the incident, when Ben and Jacob are having their big confrontation. He says the following. 35 years I lived on this island, and all I ever heard was your name over and over. Richard would bring me your instructions. All those slips of paper, all those lists. And I never questioned anything. I did as I was told. Okay, so that if what you're saying is true, that's complete bullshit. Which, Jacob
so let's look at it like this part is true. So Richard is going out to the statue, and he's talking to Jacob, and he's getting instructions, and he's got the lists, which make no sense, but okay, he's giving lists.
Yeah.
So then at some point, Ben's like, hey, I want to meet Jacob. And he's like, no, you have to wait, you have to be patient.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a gap between, at this point, when he has never seen Jacob or anyone, right? And all the direction is, he's not thinking he's seeing somebody, and it's Man in Black. Like, It's coming from Richard through Jacob from the notes, and then he's told he has to wait, and then there's a gap between that and when he takes Locke to the cabin. So at that point, he decides, he's like, okay, well, I've never seen Jacob. I got to take Locke somewhere because I'm embarrassed. So he decides to take him to the cabin. The problem now, thanks to Alana,
yeah, thanks, Alana.
is that she validates that was a place that you could find Jacob. No, and Alana, not just Alana, because you could say she was wrong, but the little note,
the note,
the note to go to the statue.
Yeah,
that validates that it's from Jacob.
Definitely.
So unless, could Richard have done that? I don't know. He's the only other person that would know that.
Yeah.
But so he just makes up a place, and it just happens to be right, like.
Yeah.
Or Richard was getting, or the other option is Richard was meeting Jacob at the statue. I'm sorry, at the at the cabin. He was meeting him there and getting the notes from there.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I remember thinking at some point, like, maybe Ben, like, followed him there or something and, like, was, like, crouching outside, you know? And that's how he came to believe that Jacob was there. But, like, he would go there and wouldn't see anybody there, you know? And that's why he took Locke there and stuff. Like that there was some factual information backing up his idea to go there, that it wasn't just random that he was right.
It'd be really interesting if you know, Ben follows Richard to the cabin, and Ben is peeking through the window and he sees Richard, like, talking to nobody. It'd be interesting, you know, because Ben can't see Jacob.
Right.
So it'd be interesting if he just copied what he saw Richard do.
Right.
And it'd be interesting if Richard was just faking because he knew Ben was watching. And he's like, oh, crap. Like, maybe that actually would be really interesting. So maybe Ben was following Richard, and Richard was going to go to the statue, and he realized Ben's following him. So he takes him to the cabin.
Right.
And then he pretends to have this whole conversation with Richard.
Oh,
I'm
God.
sorry, with Jacob.
Yeah.
And then that's what Ben saw. And Ben's like, oh, well, this is Jacob's cabin. This is where you go to find Jacob.
Right.
That'd be interesting. That almost makes it work.
Yeah. I mean, the Alana thing's still weird, but I guess that's, you know.
Well, then it just becomes, you know, others' lore that's where Jacob's cabin.
Right. Yeah. I remember a conspiracy theory about, like, Richard's like secretly making up all these orders, but I just don't see a lot of clear evidence for that. I would say that theory is probably the most consistent. I think that the Ash Circle is a little weird, that he would go that far, to like sell. I mean,
that's a good point.
You know, like, to sell something that even other people don't even know what that does necessarily. So, but I do think.
Hey, you still have to explain. You got to explain the Ash anyway. I mean,
yeah, the Ash is a fucking mess. So yeah, it's. I would say that's a pretty solid theory. Like, Richard left the note. It's others' lore that Jacob was in the cabin and he faked meetings there, and that's why Ben thought he was there. And the Man in Black found out about it, and so he used that against Ben and Locke eventually, and all that. I think that story works, more or less. I could buy into that. Okay, the other thing I just wanted to throw out there is this. So this is from season 6, when they go back to the barracks. They go back to the Smoke Monster summoning chamber that we just saw in this episode. And Miles asked about it. What's that? And Ben says, it's where I was told I could summon the monster. That's before I realized that it was the one summoning me. So it's a vague line. It's a brief line. But It does seem like it suggests something along the lines of what you were saying, of Ben like realizing, you know what I mean, that he was
yeah,
getting orders from the smoke monster on some level.
Yeah, but how and when and where and why?
Well, they don't elaborate, and it's a one-liner, so
Mm-hmm.
it's the kind of thing where it's the second to last episode of the series. We don't get a lot of, but that is the closest we get to some kind of resolution or closure on that point. That he begins to believe that. But the thing is, like, it's such a vague comment. It could just mean the manipulation that we all saw on screen. To pretending to be Deadlock, getting him to kill Jacob, everything he does, season 5 and 6, basically.
Yeah.
He could easily just mean that. Because he says that was before I realized, which, like, leaves a long period that it could have been, happening.
Yeah, wow.
And there's also I remember, like, talking about this on the original podcast, like, this I was told, like, who told you that, like, please do tell, like, it's such a tantalizing thing to drop, but, like, some random person just told you could summon the monster, like, and that's no big deal, like, it just seems weird.
Maybe his mom appeared to him or something, you know, maybe Man in Black pulled one of those tricks.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely theory, but that's something I wish they had fleshed out more, that manipulation game. Because it seems like it's there, but then, like, part of me feels like I'm just making it up.
Yeah. Not that concrete.
Like trying to fill a gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would want to say if I had to explain it. But it's like it's so frustrating to look at. Let's see, what are we looking at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah. So we're looking at like 20 words here. And this is supposed to be like the final word on this huge issue that's pivotal for the plot of the show. 20 words. So it doesn't cut it. It just doesn't cut it.
It's not enough. You need 21 words.
I need 21 words. That's where I was told I could summon the monster. But a monster. See, it seems like that's what he's saying, but he doesn't quite say that.
Yeah, I think he is saying that because he's saying, but that was before he realized the monster was summoning him. So doesn't that mean that I was told? What does he say? What's the line? What's the line?
It's where I was told I could summon the monster. That's before I realized it was the one summoning me. Because
that means the monster is the one who told him.
I feel like it doesn't have to mean that, but I agree that that's the most reasonable thing. Because it used the passive "I was told." It doesn't say the monster told me. It was where I was told I could summon the monster. That's before I realized the monster, was the one summoning me. That doesn't mean it was the one that told me. You know what I mean?
But it does mean that because he's saying I feel like he's reversing the subject of summoning, right? Like he said that's where I was told I could summon the monster. So
yeah.
I could do this action for the monster, but then he's saying instead the monster was doing this action on me. The monster was controlling me. That means I feel like that means whoever told me that was controlling me. Like was controlling him. Therefore,
it does seem that way.
It seems like it's the I guess it doesn't have to mean that, but it seems like that's what he means.
I agree.
The monster is the one who told him that.
I agree. Like, I totally agree that it means that. I'm just, like, nitpicking the grammar because it leaves room for the possibility that it's not that. Because he doesn't say it directly.
Yeah, he doesn't say it directly, but the way he says, but that was before I realized it was the monster who was summoning me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to connect it to being told. Yeah, being told that's how you summon the monster is different than summoning the monster.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There's this passive "I was told," and it's like that. It's just it's weird to phrase it that way. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess I don't know. Maybe it was awkward to write. Like, I was told I could summon the monster, but that's before I realized that I was told by the monster that I could summon the monster, but actually the monster was, you know what I mean? Like, I can understand why, you know, they wanted to keep it sort of brief, but it leaves, there's no subject for who did the telling.
Yeah.
But I only say that to say, like, it's just frustrating that it can't even, and as brief and inadequate as it is, it can't even fully give, like the other quote that I read where he said, "I never saw Jacob, period." Like 100% clearly. That he can't just state clearly, what I mean is, clearly the monster told me this, and it was secretly summoning me.
What's the episode where he says that about summoning the monster?
It's the second to last one. What they died for.
What they died for.
Yep.
If you wanted to know what they died for, here's the episode for you.
Yeah, I love that. Gather around the fire. I'll tell you what they died for.
What they die for? This is it, guys.
They were broken.
Let's see. I just want to read it for myself.
Sure.
What's that? A secret room? Thanks, Miles.
Classic Miles.
It's where I was told. This room is where I was told. Wait, what? Richard buried Alex. They enter Ben's house. Ben opens a secret door disguised as a bookcase. Looking at an ancient door inside the closet. What's that? A secret room? Okay, so this place, great, is where he was told he could summon the monster. So he could have said, "It's where I can summon the monster." Yeah, but he can't say the rest of that. But then I realized it was the monster that was summoning me. That makes it direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's before I realized that it was the one summoning me. Okay. It's where I was told I could summon the monster. This room is where I was told I could summon the monster. Trying to take out the pronouns.
Yeah.
That's before. So I was told that.
So
before,
when he says that, I think he means when I was told.
Yeah, when I was told. Yes, exactly.
That's before I realized.
He was told before he realized.
It, meaning the monster, was the one summoning me, meaning Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like if Ben is the one summoning the monster, regardless of the place, then, but the monster is the one who's summoning Ben. Yeah.
Oh, God, now I just got confused again. Sorry, go ahead.
Good. I like to talk about something long enough to forget why it makes sense. Yeah, it seems I really want it to make sense, but it doesn't. Yeah, it seems like.
So let me tell you why it got worse for me just now.
Uh-oh.
So, because I was thinking about what you're doing with the pronouns, and like I always interpreted it. This grammar is killing me, and I guess we've been over grammar before on the Let's Town. It can really, he said we're next. Like
yeah,
what?
Geez.
It's like, oh God, oh that's so confusing. Anyway, it's where the room is where I was told I could summon the monster. Now, my original interpretation of that line, before I just lost it right now, was I was told somewhere else that I could summon the monster there in that room. I just realized that you could interpret the sentence as saying, I was told in the room.
Yeah. That I could summon the monster in some place that may or may not be here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh yeah, or just in general, I have the power to summon the monster.
Yeah.
Like I have the ability to summon the
You can
monster,
summon
and
the monster
they told me that in this
in
room.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be read that way.
But
Oh
well, that
man.
sentence can, but the next sentence changes it because he says that's before I realized it was the one summoning me. So you can't really that doesn't work because he would have had to have summoned the monster before. And like, it works in the sense if he didn't know he was summoning the monster in when he was told that in the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if he's told he can summon the monster, then he shouldn't have been able to. He shouldn't have summoned it before that period of time.
Right.
Yet Yet why is this confusing?
Yeah. Actually, oh god. Oh god. Okay, hold on. Wow, why is this is the most confusing sentence in the history of English. So okay, now I'm confused again. Let me make sure. Do we agree? Do we agree when he says that's before, he
When
means
he says
that
that, what does he mean by that?
does
What's
he mean when he was told? Like when I was told that was before.
what does this apostrophe mean? I'm just trying to understand like this apostrophe. Like what does that mean? I mean it's like a comma, but it's floating up and it's like I don't know. So sorry, what's the question?
Yeah,
When he
like
says that,
that when he says
he
that's
means
before,
he
that
means
means when he was told
yeah,
or when
that
he
when he says that is, he's describing a time period, and the time period is when he was told.
right. Okay. See, yeah. So I feel like the grammar it should be. That's before I realized it would be the one summoning me. You know, the sort of future
And
past, like
exact that, and I think that's why I want it to be because he says was. I think that's why I think it's a little bit closer to being not quite so vague in terms of who told him, because he says what. That's see the was to me is almost including the telling. That's I think
yeah,
that's why it's not
I
like
agree.
completely 50-50 to me is like the was seem to somehow bring in the telling
Right, as part of the summoning, like the
as part
telling
of the
was a
summoning.
summoning.
Exactly, because the
Yeah,
summoning is like the sort of an overall control, and being told that is part
yeah,
of being controlled.
yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's supposed to be the answer that the smoke monster himself told him that. However, comma, if 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 he was told by the smoke like so if he was told by the smoke monster, you know, he didn't realize it at the time, but whoever told him that, I mean, I guess one possibility is it was a dead person he didn't recognize, or it was a dead person he did recognize. But either way, if he didn't know who it was, shouldn't he have
Hmm.
been a little more suspicious of like some strange figure telling him he could summon the smoke
Well,
monster?
it would have likely been somebody he knew. It would have been his mom or somebody he knew, right? That's what the smoke monster does.
Okay.
And that makes sense.
And
Like
he
when he
thought he
said
could trust the ghost
it
mom.
was the one summoning me could also mean like when the mom appears to him or whatever he's
Yeah.
out in the jungle when and yeah he sees an apparition and they tell him something and he's like oh yeah he realized he was being controlled.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean I think
yeah,
that's what
it's
that
tough.
is.
Wow.
But it's surprisingly difficult for 20 words.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. We just went full grammar on this thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's like maybe we should translate it into another language and then we could decode
That
it.
might help, you know. I wonder what the French version has him say.
Yeah, that's actually great. Yeah, what does he say in the French version?
I could actually find that out. Not right now, but I could find that
Somehow
out.
somehow he's referencing wine in this conversation. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get it.
Wait, what does that have to do with
But that was before I
escargot?
drank this wine in escargot. All right. So what do we solve here?
I guess we solved the question of why did Ben think he could summon the smoke monster in
Okay.
there. We got there from the whole cabin thing, and I guess like the reason why I brought that up was that whole idea of the smoke monster, manipulating Ben without his
Hmm.
knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, what if okay, Ben moves into the barracks, right? Back in the day after the purge,
Yeah.
and he's rearranging the room, and he moves the bookshelf, and he's like, oh, a secret room. He goes to the secret room, and he's moving
Mm-hmm.
shit around, putting his suits up, and then he's like,
Right.
oh, look, a secreter room. And then he's like, what's this? This is
Love that.
weird. And it's got hieroglyphics and
Right.
stuff. And so
Right.
he goes inside
Mm-hmm.
and he's looking around
Yeah.
and he hears a small voice say, you can summon the smoke monster here.
Right.
Maybe that's what he heard. He just heard Smokey like through that little hole in the ground, like, you can summon the smoke monster here.
That's actually a pretty reasonable theory.
Oh,
I
that's
hate to
sad.
say.
That's sad. It's sad that that's reasonable.
I mean, have you heard a more reasonable theory about that?
I haven't. That's even sadder. God.
It works for me. There was a crazy voice there, and I chose to believe it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that you say it like that, I heard a voice and I believed it. Yeah, that happens. People do that.
They did. I'm lost. They do,
Yeah,
and
they
in
do.
life
And
sometimes.
in life. Uh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll buy that. And then something else I was gonna say about the summoning. But okay, so we got
Also,
that.
you can find Jacob in the cabin.
Yeah, if you need it in the future for some reason, I don't know, like you're trying to pull one over on a guy. Just a suggestion. I don't know the future or anything. Oh no, I've said too much. Oh geez. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, and I think we talked about it before. But the idea that if Ben knows about the temple, maybe somehow he's got the idea, or connected it to this secret or room place, and maybe somehow he connected it to the smoke monster, or maybe there's some
Right.
hieroglyphics somewhere
Right.
that point to a place and
Yeah. Yeah.
say you
Yeah.
can call the smoke monster,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. You mean
you know,
Cerberus?
Cerberus, please. Yeah, that's a Cerberus vent down there. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's what everybody knows. There's a
Yep.
network of Cerberus vents. And
Man, that blast
sometimes
door
he
map.
likes to
Oh,
drag people down the Cerberus vents
I
randomly.
yeah, I think my top 5 best TV moments ever is the blast door map is definitely on there. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's a big one.
it was one of the few times I was so convinced if I studied a screenshot long enough,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd get all the
Solve the
answers.
show. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's got to be all in this.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's so not about the blast door map. Oh
Oh, it
man,
couldn't be less. Well, it couldn't. It could be less, but it almost couldn't be less.
almost couldn't be less.
it's it's like they get almost nothing out of it. It's really
Mm-hmm.
just somehow that helps them find the pearl station. I don't even understand how that helps because they call it a map, but that shit is
But
not
there's like no
to
coordinates
scale.
or direction or
Yeah,
orientation, and
there's
like, yeah,
nothing.
no scale.
It's a map. The stations are giant on there, and it's like I
It's
mean,
the ramblings of a madman.
clearly, yeah, and somehow it helps. Like whatever, I don't know, but yeah, there's really no there's really no great purpose to it except that yeah, it's kind of a just a small step in Locke's journey.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, anything else for Shape of Things to come?
Uh, no, it's I think that's pretty much it. It's it's a fast paced episode. It's a fun episode, but it is true that the high drama has kind of disappeared when you know the whole thing. So that's the only downside about it. I think those scenes are still fun, but they don't have the weight that they used to, and so I think that makes it seem like less of an important episode than it seemed at the time. But after a few months, they come back. It's like, oh shit, this is awesome. It's Lost again. We're getting hardcore mythology. Ben summons the smoke monster.
Yeah, that was
Alex
crazy.
is dead. Ben time traveled to the future and had a competition with Widmore, and holy shit. It's blowing open like all sorts of possibilities, and so on that level, I think it's a pretty exciting episode. The Doctor too, the crazy Doctor thing, like that's a weird moment.
Well, that's interesting because we don't know Ben has time traveled yet, right? We just know he's in the future, so it seems like a flash forward, right?
That's a good point. It plays like a flash forward.
But what's interesting is, like you said, you mentioned the Doctor. That actually is a time travel thing that they haven't nailed it on the head yet, but they have hinted that it's time travel.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that that's a parallel, right? So if you're looking at the Doctor's setup and you're like, oh, it looks like the Doctor, there's some time travel involved here.
Yeah.
It's interesting that that's a clue to the Ben thing that we don't actually know is the answer yet to why he's in the future and how that connects to, what we're going to see pretty soon here.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not definitive that he time traveled, but it would be a solid theory based on the fact that, it is still a little, it's a jump, but that he wakes up in the desert, he's got a Dharma coat on.
Yeah, but if you, why would you guess that it's time travel?
It's a leap.
It's a leap. And the other reason is we didn't see him do anything. It'd be different if we see him turn the donkey wheel and then he wakes up in 2005 and you go, oh, well, yeah. But it's kind of like we didn't see what action, precipitated him getting there.
Right.
So there's not we don't really think it's some machine or something he did or whatever.
But I guess having the winter coat provides this strong suggestion that he didn't just go there the normal way.
For sure, but that's the problem, right? Is he's got a winter coat, so you're like, well, he couldn't come from the island because why would he have a winter coat on the island?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
There's a Dharma logo. You know what I mean? It's super weird.
Why was it freezing down there, by the way? Just for the record.
Why is it a frozen donkey wheel?
Yeah, why is it a frozen donkey?
Thought out
yeah,
donkey wheel?
I just realized that's really weird.
I wonder if that's just because they were like, well, we want him to wake up the desert in a parka. Why would he have a park? They just work backwards and whatever place he's from is cold.
Yeah. Instead of starting from why is it cold in the donkey wheel chamber? Like when the Man in Black's building it, it's not cold there. When I think even when Laco's down there, it's not cold. Of course, at that point he's time traveling, so I guess it's the past version of the donkey wheel, so it didn't get cold yet. But why the fuck did it get cold? All right, anyway.
Maybe it was I don't know. Now I want to spend an hour investigating that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was a thing until I was like, oh, wait a minute. That doesn't add up. There's an island. It's the tropical island. Even underground. I understand it's colder. You go in a cave, there's a cave effect. Blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't make it, Arctic. That doesn't make it, below freezing. You know, if it's tropical temperatures outside. Come on. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Why is it cold? And Ben expects it to be cold.
Yeah. He's ready with the jacket. That's weird. That's weird. That's a weird one. Shit.
Dang, man.
Oh, yeah. And also, go to the donkey wheel to move the islands.
Oh, yeah. I almost want to tie it to the polar bear.
Oh, yeah. I remember that was the... Yes, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Theory. The polar bears
were trained to turn the donkey wheel.
That's what it was. You're right. So there's an artificial environment for the polar bears. Yeah.
Was that the answer, or was that a theory?
Well, I think it's a theory, but it seems like a good answer to me. Because I think they all but confirmed that the polar bears were
Oh, that's
working.
right, because that's why the bear remains were in Tunisia.
Exactly.
Because yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
That's right. They had trained the bears.
Yep.
So that means that Dharma was moving the island
Turned the wheel, yeah. Made the alley move, yeah.
and making it time travel, and that never came up.
Maybe that's why they did the purge.
What do you mean? Like the others did the purge to stop Dharma from moving the island and shit?
Or I guess why Jacob was okay with the purge. Or
Oh,
even possibly ordered the purge. There's definitely some conflicting opinions on who ordered the purge exactly.
yeah.
But you know what I
But
mean? If
why
they were
would
like
you
messing around with the island stuff.
but polar bears like don't have to be in the cold in order to survive.
Yeah, I know. I think that part is like, because that was the whole thing, right? The polar bear on the tropical island was like one of the first
Hmm.
mysteries on the show that people still ask about, even though there's a lot of answers there if you want to
Yeah.
look for them. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, they wanted to make them comfortable though. They don't need it to survive, but hey,
But
they're
isn't the bear going to be
hippies.
down there for like 3
They want the
seconds?
they want the bears to be happy for the 3 seconds they're there before they're transported to a desert, whether they'll quickly die. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I still think that's the explanation, but it is ridiculous.
um, I'm actually reading this thing about the donkey-like chambers all over the world.
Donkey Chambers?
It says whenever I'm on Lostpedia under Frozen Wheel theories,
Oh,
and
okay.
it says whenever someone turns the wheel, they end up near the location of another wheel, which I think is interesting. So they're saying there's a chamber in Tunisia.
Well,
That's
that
where I've
sounds like
been.
an out of date theory because, you know, since we saw the Man in Black built the wheel, I feel like the idea that there are wheels off the island seems unlikely.
Well, they're not saying wheels. They said frozen donkey wheel like chambers.
Okay,
So
okay,
they're more
okay,
saying the chamber, like the kind of special power area,
okay.
So they're
Sure,
saying there's
sure.
one in Tunisia,
That's
there's one in
possible.
L.A. near the lamppost, and they say
Okay,
this is how the Dharma Initiative found the island.
I see.
One in Egypt, and they're saying this would explain the hieroglyphs.
Right.
Uh, so I guess the idea is the Egyptians somehow had a chamber, and they somehow manipulated it, and it took them to the island. Perhaps maybe that's how they got to the island.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I assume they just sailed there
Me too.
somehow.
Like when the island was moving,
They say one in the Arctic, the listening station,
Oh, of course.
which is weird. I don't think that makes sense. Does that
I
make
guess
sense?
I guess that would be like that's why the Brazilian like pennies people were there, you know, listening for resonance or whatever. Like it's some portal that's connected to the island, and that's how they were able to detect that.
Mm.
That the Swan Station failsafe thing had been triggered.
So they couldn't have found it from anywhere. They needed to be on one of the pockets in order to
Yeah,
find it somehow.
yeah. I guess that would be. I mean, that kind of makes
Yeah,
sense.
it kind of makes sense.
I mean, there's
Um,
a lot of problems with that story, but
this is getting into theorizing territory. It's under theories, I guess. But it says the islands. Who's Isaac?
you don't remember Isaac? I have no idea who Isaac
Oh,
is.
Isaac is the guy in Australia that Rose and Bernard go to see.
Oh yeah. Right.
But this is
Yeah.
saying that they're just connecting it to that. They're saying well, I lost the place that they were saying this. That let's see, the oh yeah, that there's one possibly in Uluru or whatever this is
Oh yeah.
in Australia. That's how Isaac got his powers.
Of course. So
By
we
the
all want to
way,
know how did Isaac get his
Isaac
powers?
Isaac sounds like he's on the leftovers.
Totally like the leftovers. Yeah. That's like
Uh-huh.
the leftovers before the leftovers.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Come to
It's
me and I'll cure your
I'll
cancer.
yeah, I'll totally cure your thing, and like I've got a special hug that'll
Who
cure
wants a
your
hug?
cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that interesting. And then this says, keep losing my place. The island's frozen donkey wheel is the most powerful of these, for it is the only one that can cause time traveling and needs to be controlled. The button. It's saying the button is controlling that.
Huh?
This is why Isaac said to Rose that she needed a different type of energy. The island. So yeah, I don't know. This is suggesting that the. I mean, I guess this is what we think. It's just kind of connecting him in a very direct way, but it's somehow saying that the wheel, aka the chamber, aka the pocket of energy the chamber's on top of, um, is controlled by the button, which is it's just somehow true.
Right.
Except I guess we would say the pocket is really the pocket under the swan and not the one under the orchid.
Right.
So yeah, I don't really. It's not really worded exactly how I would describe it. Anyway, there's this whole a lot of pages and theories here, but I'm really confused on why it's cold down there still. I
Yeah.
understand it makes sense for the polar bears, but weren't the polar bears being kept on a tropical island where I mean, isn't where the where Sawyer and Kate were held the whole time? Like
Yeah, yeah, temporarily. I mean, just
temporary, long enough to build cages for and train them to get
yeah,
fish biscuits.
Okay, sure. No, maybe yeah. Yeah, well. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's ridiculous. I still think it's supposed to there's supposed to be a connection there, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I just I feel like there's got to be a way for it to make sense. I just can't think about it. I mean, what's frozen? Like frozen is ice, ice is water. So we know water is big with this whole magic on the island
Right, right.
thing. So is the water being frozen somehow makes some sort of kind of sense? Like it's uh I don't know. I want to tie it into something. The barrier. Can I throw that in there? The barrier because it's frozen.
Sure.
Did
Why
I solve?
not?
Did I solve anything? Just like say a bunch of like random keywords and like, okay, did that solve anything? Did we figure anything out? No. Okay. Let me do some more random words. Island Resurrection Kimi Peanut Butter. Did that solve anything? Oh, I think
Surprisingly, it
that.
works.
Oh, I think that explains why Claire gave the baby vaccines.
Yeah.
Look at
There you
that.
go. Wow.
Because of Island Resurrection Kimi Peanut Butter.
Island Resurrection Kiwi peanut butter. Why not? Why not?
Oh man. Oh. This says why it's frozen slash and is getting more frozen. It says frozen because because of some naturally occurring type of magnetic refrigeration. Ooh, fancy.
Uh oh.
Oh, I was gonna say something like this, but I couldn't quite figure out what sciency thing would cause it to be cold. But this says magnetic refrigeration. This sounds like primer. Is a cooling technology based on the magnetocaloric effect. Let's see. The technique can be used to attain extremely low temperatures, as well as the ranges commonly used in refrigerators. Let's see if it talks about how it works. Oh, it's a whole bunch of science.
Well, that's the
Uh,
how. That doesn't really explain why, though.
I think why is because maybe it just gets colder over time because of electromagnetism.
Oh, you're saying it's a side effect. I thought you were saying like they harness that to like you know, accomplish the refrigeration. You're not saying they're like using
Yeah,
this
I think this
effect
is
intentionally.
no,
It's just
no.
a
I
side
think
effect
I
of.
think it seems like yeah, it's like a side
Okay.
effect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be that. It could be that. Just generally like a side effect of
Oh, there's
the
also something with
energy.
yeah. I think also Ben when Ben turns it, it's gonna skip. So maybe it being frozen is another reason why it skips. Let's see. This says like maybe he used too much force because it was frozen over.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so maybe they were like, oh, we need some way for the donkey wheel to be kind of in a broken state, so it'll not work quite right.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I wish there was I could find a really simple answer and be fine with it. But I like the magnetic refrigeration, but that seems so um, indirect in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you think it should always be frozen, right? I mean, if that energy has been there that long, or unless maybe it wasn't accessed yet.
Well,
So
I guess when we see it, he didn't really get to finish it when we saw it in Across the Sea. So maybe if he had like installed the wheel and completed like got it like operational, maybe it would have started freezing in there. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the only reason why, because it wasn't, you know, functional yet.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well,
I mean, I guess
sounds good.
that's another question is like at what point did it get finished?
Hmm.
Did he hard, like recruit some other people who came to the island and convince them to finish it for him? Like at what point did he do that? And you know what I mean? Did he ever try to turn it himself? You know,
Hmm.
these are questions.
These are questions. Um, I was also wondering if the wheel could have been like the wheel from the Black Rock, like the steering wheel for what do you call those things on ships? Does
Oh,
this have a name?
yeah, yeah. There's a name for that, isn't there? Oof, I'm not a sailing expert. It can't be from Black Rock though, because it was way before the Black Rock. It could have been from like
Well,
the ship that came back then, but it wasn't the Black Rock.
I guess it's just called a ship's wheel.
Really? That's the name? That's
Yeah.
disappointing.
Oh, I think the helm. The rest of the steering forms the helm. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Um. Well, the the
The
chamber.
original wasn't, but you're saying it's possible that the later version
Yeah,
came
exactly.
from the
I'm
Black
saying
Rock?
the
Yeah,
the
that makes sense.
chamber that we saw, yeah, in Across the Sea definitely was before the Black Rock.
You're right. You're right.
But in terms of installing the wheel,
When
because
it
I'm like,
was finally built.
where would he get a wheel from? And I'm like, well, if he wants to locally source a wheel, there's a wheel in the Black Rock,
Right. Well, and
and
I
we know
guess
he's
that
been
raised the
there.
issue that the ship that wrecked that brought him and Jacob and those other people is probably where this wheel came from. So, I mean, I guess the thing would be like any ship that crashed there could provide a wheel.
Oh,
And
for
the most logical thing would be, if they want to make it part of the story, it would be a ship we actually know about.
yeah.
So, the only thing about the Black Rock
Well,
thing
and that's
that.
actually not, not every ship crashes on the island, right? Most ships don't actually get to the island.
Right, 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 right.
They would, crash off the coast or something. So this
Right.
is a ship that actually was on the island. He could go get.
I guess I was thinking it was built like a longer time ago than that. Because that would mean that it's been built within Richard's lifetime, basically. So the people who
Mhm.
were building it were people who came to the island, but were not sort of recruited by Richard properly. I guess because I would imagine that Jacob wouldn't want that project to be completed.
How? But it's Man in Black who's doing it, right?
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's a weird period for that because my impression is that uh, you know, like the army people did it, or like who it would have to be people who came to the island but were not,
Well, first of
integrated
all,
into the
why does
others.
anyone have to help Man in Black do it?
Oh, you think he did it by himself?
Why wouldn't he?
Well,
Why add in other people?
I don't know. I mean, I assumed he didn't want to like do all the labor, but I guess he could do it
Well, if he's
himself.
got telekinesis, I don't know how much labor it is.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You're right.
Yeah, but you're going off of that he said the other people helped him the first time.
Yeah, I guess, and I guess I just imagined it being,
Like a lot of
something he
work.
got people to do. I mean, are there like any markings down there?
All he has to do is dig out the dirt from what Mother filled in. Like it's already built out down there. He's just got
Right,
to like get the dirt out, and he's probably got telekinesis like she had to do all that shit.
right,
So that's probably fairly easy. And then I assume he just like stuffs the wheel in the hole
right,
and it kind of and works some sort of magic because he's special.
right,
And
right.
he's got a thing. I would rather the wheel installation be sooner or in the more recent past than further in the past because that limits the amount of time people could have just been like moving the island,
Right,
and fucking with it.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I like the idea that it could be the Black Rock wheel, but I don't know. It didn't have to be. I can't tell if it's the kind of if it's too big for a ship's wheel or because it is huge. It seems
Yeah,
like it's too big for a ship to be a ship's wheel. Uh,
yeah,
and especially if you have that in a polar bear movie. But anyway, thought that was interesting.
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, guess we can wrap up this podcast before we start down another tangent of
There will be more tangents to come, I'm sure. The
the
shape of
shape
tangents
of
to
tangents
come.
to come. Nice. We're on the same wavelength. Okay. Didn't know there'll be more tangents to come. The shape of tangents to come.
I know. I couldn't say it fast enough. I was
I
like,
know.
"Oh
I
God,
couldn't
he's gonna
either.
say it."
I know. I was like, oh god, say it quick. Oh man. All right. Well, on that note,
Indeed.
we'll be back next time with something nice back home.
That's right.
Until then, thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.